My name is Lana, and I'm a fan of sensual stories and explicit movies. I've put together a collection of the best stories that I'm sharing with you. Now, we're going to listen to a very special one. Let's go! I first met Emma after Scarlett and I had been dating for almost a year. Scarlett was very protective of her after having had bad luck with different men that she dated in the past. She didn't want Emma becoming attached to anyone and then having to suffer from the breakup. Things were headed in the right direction with us, and she finally allowed us to meet. When I first met her, she was young with a flat chest, with a beautiful face. We have all seen little girls on TV modeling clothes or some other product, and we all know why she was picked. That's how cute she was. As time went on, we started spending more time getting to know each other. As a family, we would go out to the movies and then afterwards for ice cream. I started realizing that she was a pretty cool kid. I would stay over a few nights a week, and she would come out in her pajamas to kiss Scarlett goodnight. Then she would sit on my lap and kiss me on the cheek. I was not sure how to react, so I would go with the flow and kiss her back on her forehead. Scarlett seemed to enjoy that, as she could be smiling. After several weeks of this, she started giving me a quick peck on the mouth as my goodnight kiss. Scarlett's response to this was, "I think someone has a crush on you." Scarlett and I continued dating for the next few years. We continued taking Emma out with us to spend time with her. And yes, she continued giving me a peck on the mouth at bedtime. I was totally in love with Scarlett, and soon I asked her to marry me. She said yes, and we started making plans on moving in together. What drew me to Scarlett was her beauty and brains. She was a 5'8" tall, most of it legs, flat tummy, full C-cup breasts. She was biracial, her father English and her mother Jamaican, with black hair and striking blue eyes. We were lucky to find a house that was right smack in the middle for both our jobs. In the morning, she would head east and I west. The house also came with a pool. Soon after moving in, Scarlett got a promotion at work, but it also required that she travel twice a month. She would often fly out early Monday morning and be back Wednesday night. This was her ritual every other week. By this time, Emma had started developing and would prance around the house in her little panties with a camisole as a top. I actually started developing a little crush on her. She developed little A-cups with her nipples driving me crazy, striking out. This didn't last long. Scarlett told her that was not appropriate and that she needed to wear proper pajamas. However, when Scarlett was away on a trip, she would go back to panties and a camisole. She was certainly turning into a little flirt, asking me to pinky promise not to tell her mother, with a sexy smile. That was a promise I was certainly willing to keep. Again, a young girl running around in little panties. Who's going to say no? Oftentimes, when we went out and they were walking in front of me, I couldn't decide who had the nicer ass. I remember us having brunch one morning when Emma excused herself to go to the restroom. Scarlett caught me staring as Emma walked away, asking me, "Are you checking out my daughter?" I was caught red-handed and stalled, not knowing how to answer. I was saved by the waitress bringing us our food. Emma soon returned and the subject was changed. Around the house, I would often catch her laying on the sofa, wearing her tight cotton shorts. That drove me crazy. What was wrong with me? This was my fiance's daughter. Most pretty girls are popular, and Emma is no exception. I suppose having a house with a pool also helped. As summer approached, she asked if she could invite her friends over. Scarlett and I discussed it and decided we were okay with it as long as there were no more than 5 kids at a time. We didn't want wild parties all the time. More often than not, it would only be her with 4 other girls. They would lay around getting a tan and not bother jumping into the pool. On a day that her mother was on a trip, I was peeking out the window and noticed that one of her friends was wearing a thong bikini and the strings to her top undone to avoid tan lines. After a few minutes, I came up with an excuse and decided to get a closer look. I was shocked when I stepped out the door and realized it was Emma, the one with the nice ass in the thong laying on her tummy with the strings to her top undone. I quickly excused myself and went back inside. Emma came in a few minutes later with a scared look on her face, begging me not to tell her mother what she was wearing. I told her I wouldn't say anything, but she needed to be more careful. She asked me to pinky swear while giving me a longer than normal peck on the lips and saying, "Thank you, Daddy." Yes, I went back to spying on her through the window. Another time, towards the end of summer, she came into the house and asked me for a favor in her sweet, sexy little girl voice, asking that I not step out to the backyard. I asked what was going on. She explained that summer was coming to an end and they wanted to get a tan with their tops off. I told her that I promised not to go to the backyard for the next hour. She asked that I pinky promise her never to tell her mother. That promise was also followed by a long kiss that was becoming the norm. That thought were on full display had me wanting to look out the window. All 5 girls were topless cuties. With time, Emma was a effing knockout. Boys were all over her, and she was going out on dates every single weekend. I recall feeling really jealousy when Scarlett informed me that she needed to put Emma on the pill. She explained that her daughter had a close call recently, and she was not ready to be a grandma. My jealousy was based on knowing these boys were enjoying that sweet ass of hers. Life hummed along with me loving Scarlett, dreaming it was Emma that was under me, on top of me, and in front of me. It was Emma's lips that were kissing me. Scarlett certainly had no complaints. One day, Scarlett came home explaining that she needed to attend a conference over the weekend that would require her to fly out on Thursday and not return until Monday night. She asked if Emma and I would be okay. I assured her that we would, and that she need not to worry. By this time, on one of Scarlett's prior trips, I had taken Emma to the mall with the pretense of buying shoes. While there, she explained she also needed to buy new underwear. When we walked into Victoria's Secret, I was not sure on what to think. She grabbed a few things and stepped in to try them on. While the cashier was ringing us up, her comment was, "I am sure your boyfriend is going to love this," while looking at me. I stayed quiet. When we were done, we stopped at the food court for something to eat. I couldn't help myself and asked her, "Do you think your boyfriend is going to love them?" She responded with a smile on her face. "She thought you were my boyfriend. You'll need to tell me if you like them next time Mom leaves." I was dumbfounded and not sure on how to answer. On Scarlett's very next trip, I found out that I did like her new underwear. I also found out that she had purchased a teddy with matching underwear she occasionally wear around the house in the evening. This girl was playing with fire, and I was going to get burned. The day Scarlett left, I asked Emma if she was up for dinner Saturday night. She had previously mentioned having made plans with her friends on Friday night. She asked what I had in mind, and I told her that it would be nice if we dressed up and went to the Amato's. It's a restaurant that has a nightclub right next door. The cover charge is included with your dinner. Come Saturday morning, I came into the living room with my new camera. It had arrived Friday, and I was excited to play with it. Emma was already in the living room, laying down, playing on her tablet in her camisole and a new pair of panties that I bought her at the mall. Very little material. I started pointing my camera around the house, getting familiar with the focus and the camera's functions. At one point, I pointed the camera at Emma and asked her to smile. She turned her head and stuck her tongue out. We both started laughing. I continued taking pictures around the living room, but I just couldn't help myself. I thought I was being sneaky taking quick pictures of her when she was so focused on her tablet. We were both stalled when my phone rang. I immediately dropped my camera, my heart started beating a million beats per minute. It was Scarlett calling to check in on us. After assuring her that everything was fine on our end, we talked for a bit about her conference and then hung up. I avoided being in the same room with her the rest of the day. I just couldn't trust myself not to do anything that would ruin my relationship with Scarlett. I ran a few errands, fixed the leaky shower head, did other small repairs around the house. Before I knew it, it was 6 p.m., and our plan was to leave by 8 p.m. with reservation for 9 p.m. Emma announced she would be leaving to her room to get ready. A few minutes after 8 p.m., she walked into the living room where I had been waiting for at least half an hour. If my life was a cartoon, I would be the wolf whose jaw drops to the ground. His tongue rolls out, and he bangs himself on the head with a mallet. She looks hot, smoking hot. It was as though she had just stepped out on the stage at a beauty contest during the evening gown event. She asked, "How do I look?" while she slowly turned around. Her hair and makeup looked professionally done, with succulent full red lips, all while wearing one of her mother's evening gowns, a backless red dress that went down to her ankles. She was slightly overdressed for our dinner, but I was not about to say anything. She broke my stare by stating, "I will assume you approve from the look on your face." We were ready to go. I opened the front door and allowed her to go first, catching a glimpse of her sweet caboose as she walked out. We walked to the car and I opened the door for her. The way she was looking made me want to treat her like a lady. We pulled out of the driveway and we were soon on the freeway. "Do I really look nice? I wanted to look nice for you on our date," she said. I told her she looked great. She turned a bit to her left and smiled while asking me, "Do I really look good?" "Yes." "Do I look sexy?" Yes." "Do I look hot?" Maybe. Was she trying to get me in trouble? If you weren't with Mom, would you want me as your girlfriend? Maybe. What was I supposed to say? Good, she giggled. Tonight it is only Tom and Emma, boyfriend and girlfriend. Tonight I am yours. She said the last 3 words in a very low, sexy tone. She turned to look forward while holding my hand and interlacing our fingers, same as she has seen her mother and I do many times in the past. After a few minutes, I heard her say, "Babe." I gave her a, "Are you talking to me" look. Again, she says, "Babe." Oh, I guess we are going with the pretend boyfriend and girlfriend game. Yes. Does my ass look good in this dress? It looks very nice. We soon arrived at the restaurant and pulled up to valet parking. They opened both our doors, and she was helped by one of the attendants. The look on his face was priceless. She certainly did not look her age. As we walked to the front door, she grabbed my arm and wrapped it around her, with my hand landing around her waist. I was loving it. We checked in at the front desk and were informed our table would be ready in 15 to 20 minutes. After about half an hour, we were escorted to our table. The young man that seated us seemed new. He asked for our drink orders. I asked for my favorite, an old-fashioned, and Emma ordered a glass of white wine. When he left, I asked what she was doing. She said this was a date, and besides, it wasn't like she had never had wine before. Scarlett, on a few occasions, had allowed her to have wine at a dinner. We were talking and laughing and having a great time at dinner, when I suddenly felt her playing footsies with me. I asked what she was doing, and her response was, "Playing footsies with my boyfriend." I reminded her that I really wasn't her boyfriend, and her response was, "Tonight you are." We continued our dinner and conversation. She also continued playing with my foot. When the waiter brought us our receipt, he asked if we would be visiting the club next door, with Emma quickly responding, "Yes." We were escorted to a special door that connected the restaurant to the club next door. We came to find out that they were owned by the same owner. With no bouncer at the special door, we got in very easily. We went to the bar and ordered another round, and found a tall table to stand at. Again, she grabbed my arm and put it around her back with my hand on her waist. We were soon on the dance floor. With her outfit and dance moves, I am sure I was not the only one having trouble walking. It was soon followed by a slow song. She titled her head and put her lips on mine. Oh, I knew I was in trouble. We continued dancing throughout the night and having a great time. She would kiss me here and there, but never really a full make-out kiss. I was loving it and started relaxing. I was enjoying our pretend date and started feeling like she really was my girlfriend. At one point during a slow dance, she once again started kissing me, and soon we were making out like a couple of teenagers. I was enjoying myself. She really is a great kisser. When I came back to reality, I pulled away. She brought her mouth to my ear and said, "Tonight I am yours. Kiss me." I surrendered to her request and continued kissing her. I'm sure the alcohol played a part in me letting down my guard now. With the sensuous kissing, how was this night going to end? It got late, and I suggested we go home. She agreed, and we were soon out the door. Once again, with my hand down and around her waist. She felt good. As we waited for the valet attendant to bring our car around, the kissing continued, with her always initiating the kiss. What was happening? How was I going to stop this? With a hot young lady all over you, would you want to stop it? I decided to enjoy what was happening and worry about it tomorrow morning. In the car, on the way home, she calmed down a bit and told me thank you for the date, telling she was having a great time. Arriving at home, we drove into the driveway, and she did not get off the car until I came around and opened the door for her. She reminded me that the date was not over. Entering the house, she asked if I could grab my camera. She wanted me to take a few pictures of her in her mother's elegant dress. I walked to my bedroom, and while I was grabbing my camera, she stepped into her bathroom to touch up her makeup. My God, she's effing beautiful. She started posing in different places around the living room. She looked sexy, and my D was throbbing, begging to be free. She would sit at the couch with her legs crossed, looking very elegant. Nice, innocent-looking poses. At first, she then stood by the doorway leading to the hallway and stood sideways, with her face turned to me, with her side profile highlighting her succulent bubble butt. These poses were getting sexier by the minute, with her showing more of her beautiful legs through the slit on the slide of her dress. By this point, I was done and needed some comfort. I excused myself to change into a t-shirt and shorts. When I returned, I was definitely not expecting what I saw on the couch. Next is going to be an overly explicit segment that I'm skipping due to YouTube restrictions. In the video description and in the comment section, you can find links to the full version of my stories in my Telegram channel, Lana Tales.